Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are talking right now with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, previewing a bunch of games from the Week 5 NFL card that no other handicapper wanted to take this week. Joe Duffy doesn't care. He'll tackle them all. Joe Duffy, thanks for being back.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, Buffalo and Detroit is what we're going to preview right now. Before we get to it, just remind everyone how well you've done at your site over all these years with your premium picks, your four-pay picks at OffshoreInsiders.com.
Yeah, no, and we're still ahead this year. Look, I know I have people that really care about long-term winning. They're already with me. So I know that, potential customers, they're usually more concerned about what have we done lately. Although coming off a not so great week, things have been very good. We're above for the year, especially going back to the preseason where we told you preseason is really where a lot of sharps like us can exploit some angles. So we're ahead for the year, and we're going to have you way ahead from this point on at OffshoreInsiders.com.
Detroit is a 7-point home favorite. Total right now is 43.5 or 44. That's down a little bit from 44.5. And, Detroit popped the Jets on the road. They got a good win and cover on that one. But they are a team. They're an imperfect team. They have a strong front four. But Calvin Johnson, I've been reading, might be a little bit banged up. And the deal with Buffalo, we know that E.J. Manuel is benched now. Kyle Orton's coming in now. How is he likely to do? Hopefully, he's an experienced veteran, nothing special, but hopefully he'll give a good effort here, not just playing for a paycheck. Hopefully at the very least he'll be able to manage the game. And aside from quarterback, Buffalo's always had a pretty good team, maybe a little bit of an undervalued, underrated team. So, when this line opened, I was thinking that Buffalo +7 might be a very solid play here. Do you agree with that, Joe?
No, I would say if I had to pick a side, my play here, though, is going to be on the total. And just to demonstrate how long I've been in this industry, I can remember way back when we used to do computer systems back in the 1980s that if anything was above 44, that used to be considered a very high total. Now this is a relatively low total, but still it's not an obnoxiously low total, and I think it's very significant that Detroit, based on how we measure it, margin of cover, or in the case of totals, how much a team is going over or under average by, Detroit is the number 1 under team in the league by 9.2 points per game, and Buffalo is the number 3 under team by 6.4 points per game, and they're also, they would be the best under team as far as teams that also have 4 unders. So you might be able to argue that they are truly the biggest under team in the NFL this year. And we think that really in the parity era that the over-under margin of cover holds up a lot better than the spread margin of cover does in the NFL. Now, you're right. With Kyle Orton, with all due respect to one of my favorite professors, English professors, he used to hate it when I use cliches. Kyle Orton seems to be the poster child of he is what he is. He's not a very good quarterback, but when you're betting the under, now my play here is going to be on the under. When you have a guy like E.J. Manuel out there, you're a little bit worried that he might throw some interceptions that are going to return for defensive touchdowns, and the defenses could actually put it over the total, not by giving up a bunch of yards, but by scoring. But in the case of Orton, he's not likely to have a spectacular game, but he's not likely to have a terrible game where he gives the game away and gives away some points to the other team's defense. So I do think the fact that Orton is playing means that we should hopefully be protected against kind of a backdoor aberration cover with defensive scores. And keep in mind the strength, regardless of who the quarterback is, the strength of Buffalo is their running game. Fred Jackson and C.J. Spiller, that's a pretty good running attack. And I think that Orton is just good enough, just barely good enough to keep the defenses honest, where they can still be run-oriented without defenses completely focusing on them. In Buffalo, I said the strength of their team is their running game. I should say the strength of their team, their offense is the running game. But they have a pretty darn good defense. Their defense has been tremendous this year, allowing just 2.9 yards per rushing attempt against teams that normally give up 3.8 and just 6.7 passing yards per attempt that give up 6.9. We know that Detroit's defense is pretty darn good, too. They got a lot of talent there on defense. So despite the fact it's fairly low total, but not obnoxiously low, and these have been, by the measurements we use, 2 of the biggest under teams in the league, I look for that trend to continue.
All right, yeah, I was leaning under at the 44.5 as well. Detroit has gone under in 3 straight games, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Actually, statistically, Buffalo had an awesome defense last year. Some people didn't quite realize how good it was based on the advanced NFL statistics that I've seen. All right, well, 44 is a currently widely available number, and that is Joe Duffy's lean, under 44 in Buffalo, Detroit. Thanks so much, Joe.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns. big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.